welcome to another eDesign Codemakers tutorial for game design. In this video, we're going to continue working with GameMaker Studio. In particular, we're going to talk about creating objects. Before we create our objects, we need to make sure that our sprites have been imported. If our sprites haven't been imported, our objects, they really won't look like anything. For this particular project, I've already imported some sprites and created some example objects for us to look over. But first, let's talk about creating an object. In order to create a new object, what you need to do is right-click and create object. It's pretty straightforward. GameMaker Studio makes it very easy for you to create some basic elements for your game, which is kinda nice. For this particular object, I'm just going to close it and we'll take a look at one of the pre-generated objects. Let's take a look at the bricks. When we look at the bricks, we notice a few different things. One, its name. Two, we've picked a picture for it, in this circumstance, our brick sprite. We set some parameters. One, it's visible, it's solid, and it uses physics. In order to create a science breakout game, we need our ball, or in this case a flask, to bounce off the walls. So we want to make sure our walls are solid and that they incorporate physics. Within the physics property, it's very simple. We can create certain shapes that work with our collisions. Now, we can also add events and actions. Within the bricks, they don't really have any events and actions. So let's take a look at an object that does have something. Our dark flask is actually our ball in our breakout game, and this object interacts with basically everything. As you can see, there's a bunch of different events. Within the events, there's certain things we want to point out. One is the create event. So when this is spawned, it sets a direction and speed of an object. Can't really see it, so let's make the window a little bigger. These other events are all collision events, meaning when this flask hits something, we want the game to do something. The nice thing about GameMaker Studio, as compared to other ones, is that it's an event-driven platform, meaning all you need to do is find the event that you want to use, and then add actions when that event occurs. So for this example, when our dark flask hits a brick, it just bounces. A better example is something when we hit a green or purple flask. When we hit a green or purple flask, it does a lot more. As you can see, within this system, our actions can be a lot more complex. We can play sounds, we can execute code, we can actually even destroy the object. There's lots of things that can be done, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we go over some of the final points of the game. This concludes our discussion about objects within GameMaker Studio. I hope you enjoyed watching.